good to see all of you. Although I can't see you, you can see me, but I want to let you know I am getting so excited that we're getting really close to opening up here at Redeemer Lutheran Church, to gathering back together as God's people in His sanctuary. But let me tell you, we have been working really hard, the elders, the church council, to make the worship space really safe for us to gather back into God's house again. And so we wanted to do a little video to show what it'll be like. And I start outside for a reason, because we'll have the doors open on Sunday morning, both this door and potentially the other door, so that nobody has to open or touch any particular door to enter any room of the church that you'll be needing to get into. So come on in and we'll get ready. When you come into God's house, you'll see that immediately when you come in, normally we would have a greeter right inside the door, would we not? We would have someone here, but we're not going to have greeters here any longer, at least during this COVID season, where we can assure ourselves that we're not going to be communicating the disease. But we have some sanitizing wipes up on the counter. We keep those there on a regular basis normally, but we're going to also not just have wipes for throughout the week, but we've ordered a sanitizing station that we're going to place right before we enter the worship space. It'll be there for everybody to be able to just take some sanitizer and sanitize their hands in order to be safe. So let's come this way. One of the other things people are worried about sometimes is the restroom facilities. And I wanted to show you what we're going to be doing. We want to ensure that there is still just that 6-foot spacing between everybody. So we're going to limit those going into the restroom to one person. And how we're going to do that is this way. You'll be able to see we put signs up on the doors, vacant signs. When it's vacant, obviously no one's in there, and you'll be able to turn that around once you walk in. Now it's going to be important for you to, when you go out of the bathroom, to turn the sign back, or only one person each week will be able to go into the restroom. So make sure that you move the sign as we go along. We'd also just want to encourage you to knock, just to make sure somebody hasn't forgotten to turn the sign back. So another way that we're going to keep that social distancing space of 6 feet between everyone to keep us safe. All right, so let's kind of enter into the worship space a little bit. Let's head on in. Another thing that will be different than normal. Normally we have standing right here some of our ushers that will hand you a bulletin. Well, we won't be doing that any longer. You'll see there that there's going to be a stand with pre-printed bulletins with all the hymns inside the bulletin, the whole liturgy inside the bulletin. So we won't need hymnals at all. And we encourage you to just take one bulletin for all those who come. Everyone can take one. And we'll enter the worship space again. The doors are open so that we can ensure that everyone doesn't have to open a door on their own and touch the facility. So you'll notice too here, normally we pass the plate around, but in a COVID environment, that may not be the best thing. So we've decided to place it here. And on your way in, we would encourage you to place your offering in the offering plate. Or if you forget, we'll keep it there until the end of the service. So come on in further. And one other thing, as we walk into the sanctuary, we want to all bring our masks. Those are part of the CDC guidelines, so each of us will wear our mask. I'll take mine off now, but we'll all be encouraged to wear our masks throughout the service until further notice. We hope that the virus goes down soon so that the governor will allow us to worship without masks, but until that time, we're going to honor Caesar and bring our masks and wear them. Now, obviously, if you have some kind of health problem and you need to take yours down, we certainly would encourage you to do that. If you're feeling claustrophobic, you can't breathe, take your masks down. We'll be sitting more than 6 feet apart from each other anyway, so you can be safe just with the social distancing itself. But because that's the regulation that he's given us, we're going to continue to wear masks until further notice. So come on. So one of the next things I want you to notice, in order for us to social distance, you'll see at the end of the pews, we have the pews numbered. And we will be sitting in different pews at different services so that no one sits in a pew that has not been sanitized before the next person sits in that very same pew. So we'll alternate odd and even. We'll sit in odd at one service, we'll sit at even at the other service. But after each service, both on Saturday night after the Saturday afternoon worship, we'll have the professional cleaners come in and sanitize after that service. And then again, we'll be sitting in odd or even at the two different services on Sunday morning. And then following that service, before we have worship again, we'll make sure that the professional cleaners come in and sanitize the worship space. And so when we sit in these pews, even at one service or odd at the other service, we'll want to space each other out and keep 6 feet of distance between us going laterally, as well as we will be, of course, because they're odd and even, skipping the rows, keeping 6 feet between folks, front to back as well. You'll notice also as you look at the pews or in the pews that there's nothing inside. We've removed all of the hymnals and all of the things that we normally keep, the envelopes inside here, all so that we don't touch things over and over and have to have those hymnals themselves be sanitized. So we'll be putting the hymns into the bulletin, so you won't have to do that yourselves. You won't have to be able to touch things or have things touched when you go to grab them. You'll all have it contained in one bulletin. Okay, so as we turn around, as we leave the service at the end of the worship, you'll notice that there's a wastebasket. And talking about those bulletins, we want to encourage everyone to throw your bulletin away unless you're taking it home with you. Normally we would keep those bulletins and maybe reutilize them to save paper or something. Well, not anymore. We're just going to throw them all away to make absolutely sure that no one touches the same bulletin twice. So when we have our worship service, normally we would go to the communion rail and have the Lord's Supper all together sitting next to each other. But obviously in this kind of environment, we don't want to do that anymore. So we're going to do that socially distancing from one another. Normally we would have an elder help me in distributing that. Well, during these 3, 4, how many ever weeks we need till we're absolutely certain no one's going to communicate a virus any longer, I'll be doing that myself. You'll watch me immediately before I go to institute the elements or touch them. I will have washed my hands with hand sanitizer, and I'll be the only one to touch the common cup or which we'll be doing, and we'll obviously continue to have the individual cups for the majority of you who will want to utilize the individual cups. Now, normally in that in that big container of individual cups, they're kind of put together a lot, but we've asked the Altar Guild to ensure that there's spacing between each cup, so no one has to be worried that they will touch someone else's cup or they'll just all be apart. We may use more containers, but the cups will be spread apart so that you don't have to worry about that. It is the Lord's Supper, and I'm sure that the Lord is going to take care of us as we receive His supper. Our Heavenly Father will keep us safe and give us the blessings that come with the Lord's Supper. But we'll be taking precautions. We've asked the Altar Guild to wear gloves as they prepare the Lord's Supper and all the things that they'll do. They'll be wearing gloves and sanitize themselves before they walk in and touch any of those, the hosts or the wine back there, so you can be sure that that's done in a safe and appropriate manner. So as you can see, I'm only touching just a few of the many guidelines that you have received in the mail. And I encourage you, as you may think of things that we haven't thought of, to contact the office and let us know what would make you feel safe to come back into God's house, to worship Him again with the Lord's family here at Redeemer. But we are going to begin worship on the 4th, and I'm really excited about that, and I hope you can gather together with us as we celebrate on that day. And it just so happens that the Lord has provided, it's going to be Independence Day weekend, July 4th and 5th, that we first gather together in God's house again. And what a joy it will be as we celebrate all the blessings that we have from God and from our nation, one of which is to be able to worship freely in God's house in this country. So we want to celebrate that on our Independence Day weekend. So God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you in just a couple of weeks. Thank you.